Welcome, space enthusiasts and lunar dreamers. Today, we're embarking on an extraordinary journey that's no longer confined to the realm of science fiction. We're diving deep into the fascinating world of lunar exploration, exploring the steps that could pave the way for a sustainable human presence on the moon in the coming decades. Buckle up, because this isn't just a flight of fancy, it's a roadmap to our celestial neighbor. Imagine waking up to an Earthrise, your morning coffee accompanied by a view that has captivated humanity for millennia. This isn't a scene from a movie, it's a potential future that's closer than you might think. But before we pack our bags for this otherworldly adventure, let's ground ourselves in the current state of lunar exploration. As we speak, various space agencies and private companies are working towards establishing a more permanent human presence on the moon. NASA's Artemis program aims to return humans to the lunar surface in the coming years. China has successfully landed rovers on the far side of the moon, and other nations are joining the lunar exploration efforts. But long-term habitation? That's a challenge we're still working to overcome. So what exactly do we mean by establishing a sustainable presence on the moon? We're talking about creating a long-term human presence, not just brief visits or small research outposts. This involves tackling enormous challenges, from the moon's harsh environment to the logistical nightmares of supplying a settlement 250,000 miles away from Earth. But why the moon? Why not Mars or some other celestial body? Well, our lunar neighbor offers some unique advantages. It's close, relatively speaking. A journey to the moon takes just a few days, compared to the months required to reach Mars. This proximity makes resupply missions and emergency evacuations more feasible. The moon also serves as an ideal testing ground for technologies we'll need for deeper space exploration. It's like our cosmic backyard, a place to practice before we venture further into the solar system. Now let's break down the steps we need to take to make a sustainable lunar presence a reality in the coming years. First and foremost, we need to establish a reliable transportation system. We're not talking about booking a flight on lunar air, at least not yet. We need spacecraft capable of regularly ferrying people and cargo between Earth and the moon. Companies like SpaceX and Blue Origin are developing vehicles designed for lunar missions, but we'll need to see significant advancements in reusability and payload capacity to make frequent trips economically viable. Once we can get there reliably, we need somewhere to live. Lunar habitats face unique challenges. The moon has no atmosphere to speak of, subjecting the surface to extreme temperature swings and constant bombardment by radiation and micrometeorites. Any lunar dwelling needs to protect its inhabitants from these hazards while providing a breathable atmosphere, stable temperature, and radiation shielding. One promising approach is the use of inflatable habitats. These structures can be transported in a compact form and then expanded once on the lunar surface, providing a large living space with minimal launch mass. Another option is to use the moon's own resources to build shelters. This concept, known as in situ resource utilization, or ISU, involves using lunar regolith, the loose surface material on the moon, to create building materials. Imagine 3D printing a lunar base using moon dust. But a habitat is just the beginning. To sustain life long term, we need to solve the critical issues of food, water, and oxygen production. This is where things get really interesting. Discoveries have confirmed the presence of water ice in permanently shadowed craters near the lunar poles. This ice could potentially be harvested and processed to provide not only drinking water, but also oxygen for breathing and hydrogen for fuel. Food production presents another challenge. We can't rely solely on resupply missions from Earth, so we'll need to grow our own food. This means developing lunar greenhouses, capable of producing crops in the moon's low gravity and protecting plants from cosmic radiation. Scientists are already experimenting with growing plants in simulated lunar soil, and while there are challenges, research is ongoing. Imagine the possibility of biting into a lunar-grown vegetable while gazing at the Earth hanging in the black sky. Energy is another crucial factor. Without an atmosphere, solar panels on the moon can operate at high efficiency without the filtering effect we experience on Earth. But lunar nights last for about 14 Earth days, requiring massive energy storage solutions or alternative power sources. One possibility being explored is the use of small nuclear reactors, which could provide a constant, reliable power source regardless of the day-night cycle. Now let's talk about the elephant in the room, or should I say the astronaut in the crater. Human health in the lunar environment is a major concern. The moon's gravity is only about 1/6 that of Earth's, which can lead to muscle atrophy and bone density loss over time. We'll need to develop exercise regimens and possibly artificial gravity solutions to keep lunar inhabitants healthy. There's also the psychological aspect of living in an isolated alien environment. Future lunar inhabitants will need to be not just physically fit, but mentally resilient as well. Communication is another vital component of lunar habitation. We'll need robust systems to maintain constant contact with Earth, not just for scientific and operational purposes, but to keep our lunar pioneers connected with their loved ones back home. Imagine video calling your family from the moon. Talk about a long-distance relationship. But it's not all challenges and hardships. The opportunities for scientific discovery on the moon are boundless. A permanently staffed lunar base would allow for continuous astronomical observations from the far side of the moon, shielded from Earth's radio interference. We could study lunar geology in unprecedented detail, potentially unlocking secrets about the early solar system. The moon could also serve as a launch pad for missions deeper into space, taking advantage of its lower gravity to reduce the fuel needed for liftoff. Now, I know what you're thinking. This all sounds amazing, but how soon can we realistically achieve this? The honest answer is, it's a monumental challenge that will take time. We're making progress in many areas, but there are still significant hurdles to overcome. While we may not have a fully fledged lunar base in the immediate future, we're likely to see important milestones in lunar exploration and the first steps towards a more permanent human presence on the moon in the coming years. Let's take a moment to consider the broader implications of a sustainable lunar presence. Establishing a long-term human presence on another world would be a turning point in our species' history. It would demonstrate our ability to adapt to and thrive in the most hostile environments imaginable. The technologies developed for lunar living could have enormous benefits back on Earth, from more efficient resource utilization to breakthroughs in sustainable living. But there are ethical considerations too. As we extend our reach to other worlds, we must do so responsibly. The moon may be barren, but it's not ours to exploit recklessly. International cooperation and clear guidelines for lunar activities will be crucial to ensure that our first steps in exploring another world are taken wisely and for the benefit of all humanity. So, what can you do to be part of this lunar adventure? While you might not be able to book a ticket to the moon just yet, you can stay informed and engaged with space exploration efforts. Follow the progress of lunar missions, support space science education, and let your voice be heard in discussions about the future of space exploration. Who knows, some of you watching this video might be among the future lunar explorers. As we wrap up our lunar journey, let's take a moment to reflect on the sheer audacity of what we're contemplating. Just over a century ago, powered flight was in its infancy. Today, we're seriously discussing building habitats on another world. It's a testament to human ingenuity, courage, and our unquenchable thirst for exploration. The road to a sustainable lunar presence is long and fraught with challenges, but it's a road worth taking. Each step brings us closer to not just a new world, but a new perspective on our own. From the moon, astronauts have described the profound experience of seeing Earth as a fragile blue marble suspended in the void of space. Imagine how that view might change us as a species, how it might reshape our understanding of our place in the universe. As we stand on the brink of this new era of exploration, we're not just reaching for the moon. We're reaching for a future where humanity is no longer bound to a single world. The moon is our first step, a proving ground for the technologies and techniques that will eventually take us to Mars and beyond. It's a beacon of what's possible when we dream big and work tirelessly to turn those dreams into reality. So the next time you look up at the moon, remember, you're not just seeing a distant, lifeless rock. You're seeing the site of humanity's next great adventure. a place where in the future people might be living, working, and gazing back at the Earth, wondering at the amazing journey that brought them there. As we close this cosmic chapter, I want to leave you with a thought. The greatest adventures in human history have always begun with a single step. The journey to establish a sustainable presence on the moon is no different. It starts here, with our curiosity, our determination, and our unwavering belief that the seemingly impossible is just the next frontier waiting to be explored. Thank you for joining me on this lunar odyssey. If you've enjoyed this voyage through the possibilities of moon exploration, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Space for more out-of-this-world content. And remember, keep looking up. The future is brighter than ever, and it might just be written in the stars. Until next time, fellow space explorers.